I go crazy and then my partner goes crazy too. So I have to go crazy first and then my partner will go crazy too. That's why you need to keep increasing the size of your conviction that you must succeed here, even if it's just subconsciously. Then how do you grow that conviction? That's what this is about. You need to know exactly why it's a miracle if you don't succeed. What's the first thing? It's good and cheap. You all know this, right? But there's a huge difference in speed between people who only understand this in theory, in their heads, and those who understand it in their heads and also feel it in their heart. Let me tell you what happened recently. So, what happens when something is good and cheap? Voluntary repeat purchases occur. And as voluntary repeat purchases happen, there will naturally be loyal users of the product, right? Then those loyal users of the product become business partners. Do you know what's really interesting about Atomy? When people truly become convinced of a product they love, they talk about it with real confidence. There was someone like that this time. He's the Secretary General of the Lions Club, and since he has network marketing experience and is a former accountant, so I thought it would be great if he did the Atomy business. And as it happened, he experienced the effects of Hemohim firsthand, which made his confidence in Atomy even stronger. What was it? He said a miracle happened. He was declared completely cured of stomach cancer, and now he doesn't even take cholesterol medication anymore. He was told his cholesterol levels are within the normal range and that he scored a perfect 100. So he was so happy that he doesn't even take any medicine now. He's completely normal. His cholesterol is also within the normal range. He says he can hardly believe it himself, but it's true. So what this person wrote was, from now on, I will become an ambassador for Himoem, and sent that to our partner because he was so grateful. And then apparently he shared it around saying something like, President of Lions. This person isn't selling anything. It's just that he truly became healthy. So what happens? He can talk about it with confidence. How does this happen? A consumer who fell in love with the product became a business partner. So where can you find proof that someone has become a business partner? Now, what I've taught you today is for when you need to talk to someone like the mom next door or the man who lives across the street. You have to explain things in a way that they can understand, right? So you need to keep it simple. Usually when I have people try to explain things, they make it way too complicated. They only understand it in their heads. And since they haven't organized their thoughts, the other person can't understand them at all. So simply put, what's the evidence that someone has become a business owner? You can tell just by listening to the speeches of all the people who have been promoted. If you look at the speeches of our promoted members, they often say things like, I really didn't like seafood. Or my older sister started taking Hemoim and I used to have really bad menstrual cramps. But after taking it, I felt so much better. Things like that. So that's how I came to learn about Atomy and eventually started the Atomy business. That's how they talk, right? So the evidence that the products are good and cheap and that satisfied consumers become business owners is all found in those speeches. It's all in the speeches of those who have been promoted. And do you think only our company says that our products are good and cheap? Every company, all competitors say the same thing. So we need more evidence, right? What is that evidence? It's in the audit report. But these days, you know, those audit report materials and things like that. When I was still inexperienced, if I made a mistake during a broadcast, I would just say thank you. Now, smart and young people look into things in detail. So unless I know something for sure, I try not to say anything. That's why I made sure to find out exactly. Even when I show the audit report as Atomy's official document, there are still people who don't believe it. I captured this from Imperial, and if you look at this data, the cost of goods sold is 47.2%. The cost is 47%. Everyone, that's really high. For manufactured goods, 47% is almost half. So where do you find evidence for this? From the audit report. There's a website called ART. If you type in ART like this is what comes up. You see where it says DART, right? If you click on Dart FSS or KR, this will appear. The site called Dart opens up, right? Then here in the company name field, you search for Atomy. If you search for Atomy, a list will come up. See, it says Atomy audit report here, right? You just need to click this one below. So when people ask for proof, you can show them this. Then what happens? It comes up like this. But when you look at it, most ordinary people don't really understand it. People who are knowledgeable about tax offices or numbers will tell you to look at that. But for everyone else, you can show them Atomy's materials and say it's 47.2%. This way you can explain that Atomy's products are really good and inexpensive. If you say it like that, it builds trust. Then people start to think, wow, the actual cost is really high, and their perception of Atomy's products changes in a positive way. You get it, right? And what's the second point? There's no membership fee. Since there's no membership fee, what happens? People who are better than me join? Everyone. But what happens with those people who are better than me? I can't make sales. I can't give lectures. I can't speak. Where is the answer to all these rejections? Some people say, I can't do this, I can't do that. When they say things like that, don't try to explain it in a complicated way. Just say, that's why Atomy is the only thing you can do. And then what else should you say? Why? Even if you can't sell, someone who is good at selling will come along. And even if you can't speak well, someone who is good at speaking will show up. If you explain it like this, people accept it easily. Thank you. You have to say this much. It looks easy because I speak so confidently like this, right? I'm telling you, try it yourself. You won't be able to get the words out. You'll get tongue-tied. That's why you need to practice speaking as well. You understand, right? And what's the third thing? There's no monthly maintenance fee, but you need to explain what a monthly maintenance fee is. Because if you don't explain the monthly maintenance fee in concrete numbers, people who are somewhat familiar with multi-level marketing will think, yeah, even if I sign up, there must be some kind of trap when I really get started. So to show that there are no traps, we need to present the maintenance fee in numbers. Companies like L or S, for example. With those companies, you have to make a regular auto-ship purchase every month, which is about 200,000 won. So if it's 200,000 won per month, how much is that per year for one person? That's 2.4 million won. And if you have 10 people, that's 24 million. If you have 100 people, that's 240 million won. That's why people go bankrupt, because of these monthly maintenance fees. But with Atomy, there are countries where Azamal is available and others where it isn't, but Korea has the best setup. Originally, wet wipes in Korea cost 2,000 won, but because of Azamal, when Chupa Chups lollipops came out, it only cost 300 won. So how much is that per year? It's 300 won. So for us, it's not 300 won per month, but per year. Then how much would it be for 10 people? 3,000 won. For 100 people, that's 30,000 won. So what happens to the code? Since there are no monthly maintenance fees, what happens is that the members keep joining smoothly. So what does that lead to? It means the base fire is happening, everyone. There are a lot of members. Can you create a pile-up if the members don't keep coming in? Our job is to make sure it keeps running automatically. System income isn't about me constantly working hard. It's about more and more consumers and business partners joining so that the customer base grows automatically. So if there's a monthly maintenance fee, even if it's just 10,000 won, what happens as the number of people increases? It gets harder, which means it's difficult. But what's scary about this maintenance fee is thank you. If I'm running a business and I paid 200,000 won, it's fine as long as only I pay. If 10 people chip in together and pay, that's okay too. But will there really be people who pay? Inevitably, as time goes by, there are always people who fall behind. Then those people call you saying, sponsor, I'm really struggling this time. Could you help me out just a little? They call you and say that. But when there are a lot of people, you can't help everyone. So there will be people whose calls you can't answer. In that case, it would be fine if that person just couldn't pay the maintenance fee and their account went to zero, or if only that person withdrew. But do you know what the real problem is? They say they're going to return the products. That's the problem. What happens if they return the product? You'd see a big negative balance, right? So do you make money then? You can't make money, can you? It's just not possible. That's why it's so difficult. That's why this binary system is never easy. And that's why there are no companies at the top globally. Only Atomy is there. 2 lines might look easy, but if there's a monthly maintenance fee, it's never easy. But where is there a company with no sign-up fee? There was only one company. It was just Amway. But then a Korean company called Atomy appeared. But Atomy is fighting a battle it's already won. Why? Because we have more members, at least in Korea. If you look at the overall picture, Amway is #1 in sales, but their prices are 4 times higher. And if you look at just Korea, we actually have more members here than Amway does. But 4 times the price? Because it's so expensive, we're currently in second place, but we were number one once. But now we've opened up in China, and now Atomy has produced its top earners in China too. So it's only going to keep getting bigger and bigger. So I think if we surpass Amway in the global market, people will be like, huh? What's going on? That's probably how people will see it. So what does that mean for us? We have to do things right.